Alright, so here we are. We're back on the 64 Mercury Comet. So what are we doing today? Well, we're going to be working on some of the smaller cosmetic things and some of the smaller things that we can go ahead and start buttoning up to make the car look better. So let me just tell you this. That is my 54 Ford, and it is a shiny, restored, pretty car. It's hard to do any modifications to. It's hard to make any changes to. This car is not going to be a restoration. This car is going to be for fun. This car will be able to be cut on, drilled on, done to do whatever I want to do. And that's why I'm building it. I'm building it to have fun with, to drive, to enjoy. And it's hard to do stuff like that with the 54 Ford. You're always cringing that somebody's going to scratch it. You're always worried about when you go to work on it that you don't scratch it, and it's a whole thing. This car, on the other hand, this car is a rusty turd, but it's still pretty solid. And that's what we're working on today. Like I said, I wanted to get into some of the lighter cosmetics to try to make things look better when I am driving it. I don't know if you remember or not, back several months ago, probably close to a year now or longer, I bought a trunk lid for this car. And the miracle of miracles, it's already the right color. It's the resale red that this car was painted. I think that's the original color that this car came in, that this trunk lid came off of. It was a 4-door. Trunk lids are the same. But it's got some rust issues, but not the same rust issues that the trunk on this car has. This car has external cosmetic ugliness, where this one, the exterior sheet metal, looks beautiful, and it's got some problems with rust on the interior. But some of those places need to be shored up. So we're going to get in here and talk about what we're going to do. Alright, so you can see the kind of rust problem that we have here, okay? There's no perforation rust. It doesn't come through to the exterior. Apparently leaves or moisture or whatever got in here and sat and rusted this out and started rusting out down here. I'm thinking that leaves probably piled up between the seal and the trunk rim, okay, that sits here, and stayed wet and rusted it out. Now, I would like to be able to just come in and scab in a piece of metal, but problem with that, let me bring you around to the other side. The problem with doing that is this side has about the right patina that I really want to keep on the car. Same color, but there's no holes. It's solid metal. So if I come on this side and start welding, I'm afraid that I'm going to blister and damage the other side and have caused me problems. So I'm thinking that I may try to patch this up with Pour 15, some steel epoxy putty, and some other stuff so that I don't have to put that much heat and risk damaging the paint. So I know that's not exactly the right way to fix it, but you know what? A lot of the stuff I've done in this car is not the right way to fix it. I am trying to make like I said, a restoration, solid cosmetically, and driver car. Something that I can, like I said, cut on, add to, chop up, and it don't matter. This car, as rusty as it was and some of the problems that it had, probably should have gone to the scrapper and been sorted out for parts to be used on other cars. So let me take you back here in the back and I'll show you the trunk lid that is actually on this car now. You have to excuse the fan. It's about 110 degrees here in Mississippi right now. This has been repaired before, poorly. It looks like something I would have done 25 years ago maybe, but as you can see, this underside here, well, you can't see it, but this peak behind here is packed with Bondo. It's just full of Bondo, and then you have all these holes. This whole piece is gone here, and they filled it up with, like I said, Bondo and paint. It's got holes in it, and that hood right there, all of this is still perfect. Alright, so we are going to go ahead and remove this deck lid from the vehicle, and I'm going to see what I got to do once this is off to get that lock mechanism out and get it installed into the new trunk. This lock cylinder works perfectly. I have no problem with it. The trunk latches and opens. The doors open and close perfectly. So let's set you into a time warp and let me get to work. Just videoed that in time lapse when I thought I was talking to you, and basically what I said was I destroyed this whole back of the trunk to get access to take this lock cylinder out. Access to this lock cylinder to be able to take the cylinder out is on the very top. I don't know what kind of a contortionist and teeny tiny person hands they think we've got to be able to get up in there to release to take this lock cylinder out. I can't see any kind of way to do it. I've had it here in my hands for several minutes. I've turned this lock every which way but loose, and to be honest, I'm pretty sure that pin is seized that actually releases the lock cylinder, because I've turned this lock in every position I can think to turn it, and that pin doesn't move. So what I am going to do is I'm going to leave this assembled, because you're supposed to be able to take the lock cylinder out, and then you're supposed to be able to take this extension piece out, and then you can take the nut off and take the lock barrel out. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to put it back in this trunk without making a access hole so that I can put the nut and tighten everything back up. I don't know, but we're going to figure it out. Well, I had fooled with this for several minutes trying to figure out how I can get all of this stuff back up in that hole back here through this little access hole. We're trying to reach my hand through that access hole. Without this lock cylinder coming out and being able to assemble it like it's supposed to be assembled, I'm just going to have to cut an access hole right here, because I have a working lock cylinder and I'd prefer to continue to have a working lock cylinder. And I think that if I keep screwing around with this lock cylinder, I'm going to break it. So I guess I'm going to make an access plate. Ta-da! Hole. You know, didn't really want to do that, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to make things happen. I don't know why Ford didn't think that it could just put a removable access plate right there, but you know, I don't know. Let's tighten this up. It works. Lock needs a little lube. Alright, well, it is time for some more of that unconventional rust hole repair that I so like to do. And I'm going to continue to do them no matter what. I just don't have the time or the patience or the tools to do metal fabrication on anything really. So what I'm going to do is what I did in a spot right here. I still need to do a little grinding and finishing on it. But to repair rust holes around this trunk rim, I'm going to use JB Weld steel stick. I don't know if you're familiar with steel stick or not, but it is a two-part epoxy putty that you knead together until it is one continuous color, and then you put it into the place where you want, or where you were trying to repair, the hole you were trying to repair. I recently, just a few minutes ago, I say recently, just a couple of minutes ago, dug this out. This is some Bondo that somebody put in this car back probably, I don't know, I would just have to guess, back in the 80s. And well, it's just now giving up. So let's knead this stuff into a little ball and see if we can get it shoved into that hole. It's got a steel inner part, looks like. The dark stuff is the steel, I think, and the outside part is the binding agent, or I don't know how this stuff works. I just know it helps to have gloves on to keep it from getting all over you. But this is going to take a few minutes, so let's drop to a time lapse. Alright, well, I don't know if you can tell from the before to the after here, but there was a hole here about as big as a quarter, maybe a 50-cent piece right there, and it is now filled, and this epoxy is starting to kick off pretty good. It's getting hot, so it takes about, I don't know, it'll kick off in probably 5 or 6 minutes and begin getting hard. I think it says to give it a full 24 hours before it is completely cured. Now what you can do is once it starts kicking, like this one is doing, this one's getting hot and starting to kick off, wet your finger and you can take and rub it, and that gives it a nice smooth texture if you so desire. I think I'm probably going to sand these down just a little bit, and to be honest, knowing me, I may not do anything to them. I may hit them with a little flat black paint and keep on moving as long as they're sealing up the holes. And I don't know if you could see right here when I was doing it. Let's try to get a better angle. Some of that trunk rim, I don't have enough light, so trying to get a little grainy on you. But a piece of this trunk rim was completely gone right here, whole section. So it's going to let water kind of run, could potentially run water into the trunk. This is just the channel that kind of holds the back of the gasket. You can see that this gasket sits, has a little lip, and it sits, has something to hold against. You kind of hold it in place, put a little glue on it, and set it down in there. But yeah, I'll dress that up a little bit with some sandpaper, and it'll have a place for the gasket to hold it. There was right there, here there were some pinholes in this track where water would come and would be able to drip in. I just poked some of that epoxy into those holes. Now I've got some spots up here as well, and I'm gonna have to pull that gasket out all the way around to know for sure that I have gotten all the holes filled. You can see a little hole right there, and it's hard to tell from that angle, but my finger, you can see with my finger, there's a little section missing right there that would hold the gasket. Don't know if this would leak, but that hole right there for sure will leak. And you can see I got a little more crust and crud that I need to scrape out of that track. You just take something like that. Take a screwdriver, just get the big chunks out, and then back, hit it with a wire brush. Most of what's in there, in here, is defunct, dried up glue. So get most of that out and we'll be good to go. Alright, so we're going to do one hole patch here in real time. Not time lapse. I'll show you what I do, process I've come upon that works for me. If it works, if it might work for you, fine, take it, use it. Is it a permanent fix? Probably not. Is it correct? Absolutely not. But will it work? Seems that it might. You just got to get enough poked in the hole, poked through, so you can wrap it around on the back side. Got two holes we're trying to fix here. Get it shoved through on the back side and flatten it out, flatten it over. I end up putting some more on the back side of this one. Stuff's starting to kick. I can feel it getting hot. So it ought to start thickening up here and getting pretty thick pretty fast. I'm still flexing it a little bit. I don't know if you can see it in the camera or not, but I need to get a little bit more, fill up that hole right there. Alright, we quickly mixed up a little more. Let's don't need that much. Let's see if that'll do it. Yeah, a nice little wide little pad stuff. Kind of tuck it from underneath, kind of give it a little support. Press it in place. I know you can't see that, but it just got mashed into the epoxy from the bottom side of the hole so that this whole hole is supported. And once this stuff cures, I don't know if you've ever messed with any of it, but it's like you can drill it, tap it, grind it. So I wouldn't say it's as hard as steel, but they try to make you think it is, but it gets pretty hard. It's not going to fall out. It's not going to let just water just run into the car like it has been for the last probably 10 years. So, well, there you go. There's some more of my unconventional rust hole repairs in my old Comet. Does it work? Yep. Is it right? Nope. We're going to probably do the same thing to the rusty spot on the bottom side of the trunk lid too. So I'm going to have to make a run to get some more epoxy putty. I'm going to be able to do that. While I'm doing that, why don't you go out and watch another one of my videos coming on the screen right now.